Hello everybody, this is the thejonnymar, and welcome to a brand new series on my channel, and that is playing through the original Legend of Zelda for the NES. This is actually the third Legend of Zelda game that I'm going to be doing for my channel, having already completed A Link to the Past and also Link's Awakening. And this is actually the fourth game in the series that I played. So Link to the Past was the first game that I played, Link's Awakening was second, and then Ocarina of Time was actually third. So I did not get to this game until I actually got the Zelda collection for the GameCube, and that allowed me to actually go back and play this game for the first time. So I'm not horribly experienced with it, kind of like the other games in the series, Link to the Past for example, which I play a couple of times per year, but I have played through it a couple of times. I know basically the ins and outs of it, so I will be showing a walkthrough of the game and kind of the path I take to beat the game. Now I've been challenged by some of my viewers to do both the initial quest and also the more difficult secondary quest, and I haven't yet decided if I'm going to do that or not because I've never beaten the second quest. But yeah, I'll probably do it, we'll see. But without too much further ado, I think it's about time for us to get into this original game. So I've already set up a profile for Link, so we're just gonna hit enter, or start of course. And we start off on the first screen and head down into this little cave, and we get one of the most famous lines in any video game. It's dangerous to go alone, take this. And now we have Link's sword, which of course shoots out a little beam, as you can see. That's an element that was added to some of the later Zelda games. Now, what's interesting about that character, he's become kind of infamous, and we're gonna go exploring here to the east. But most people know that line. Some people don't know where it comes from, and it has become kind of so infamous that when I attended Video Games Live this summer in Baltimore, the winner of the costume contest was a guy wearing a ratty old red robe and then a beard, and all he did was say that line, and everyone in the crowd flipped out. So there is some staying power to that line. And that kind of shows how popular this series is. But we're going to head to the east here. I'm going to kill things as we go along, and that is to gain rupees, as many as I possibly can. Now most people when they start up this game will just head to the first dungeon, which is called Eagle, but I like to head to the east first and try to amass about 20 rupees. And if I can't get 20 rupees, or if I get extremely lucky with enemy drops, because some of the enemies are actually blue, as I take tons of damage here. Jeez, I gotta get a handle of these controls again. And thanks for a stopwatch, which of course freezes everything on the screen after I had killed everything. Crap, come on, let's do this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to these controls again. I have not played this game in quite a while. And the enemies will change their speeds up, and so sometimes they'll move very quickly, and I really need that fairy. Come here. Come here. Yes. And thankfully, because I'm probably gonna be low on health throughout much of this game, and I'll probably die, let's be honest here. I am not terribly great at this game. Basically, the little low health indicator is actually not too obnoxious in this version. But I want to purchase bombs here. So that's what I need the 20 rupees for. And basically, if you do get lucky with your item drops for the blue enemies, like those Octoroks, then you'll actually get bombs when you kill them. But unfortunately, I did not, so I had to purchase them for 20 rupees. Now with the bombs, we're going to head back to the west. And we're going to come to a little bit of an intersection here in the cliffy area at the southern part of the map. And we're going to use a bomb to blow open the wall. Now, unlike later games in the series, this game does not give you any clues as to which walls or, various parts of the environment you can actually destroy. But the reason we did that, as you can see, is to get a heart container. So we don't have to actually collect 4 heart pieces like in later games of the series. We can just find full heart containers and that will increase our life meter over there. There's actually about 5 of those to collect on the world map, and then of course you also get 1 from each of the dungeons you complete. Now, this is actually a pretty large world map. It's about 8 tiles up and down and 16 tiles right to left. So that is a lot of screens to go through. And we will see pretty much all of them during this quest. Now my hope, again, is not to die very often. Like I said, I probably will die at least a couple of times, unlike my previous LPs of the other Zelda games I've played. But maybe a few times only. Because I do want this to serve as kind of a walkthrough, and if you're dying all the time, that's not the greatest walkthrough or experience as a viewer. Ow. Now, rupees are of 2 variety in this game. We don't have all of the various colored rupees, so we don't have red or yellow or purple. We just have flashing that are blue and yellow. Those are worth 1 rupee. And then we also have blue rupees, which are worth 5. And you are limited to 255 rupees max. But this is level 1, Eagle. So as you might expect, the first dungeon is pretty easy to do. Although we do have annoying Keese enemies to kill, these stupid bats. So like most Zelda games, if you kill enemies in some rooms, you will get a key. In other rooms, you'll have to push blocks, and a lot of the elements that have become kind of standard for the series. And unlike previous games, or actually later games in the series, sometimes in this version, you'll notice the skeleton way to the right of the screen. He actually has a key inside of him. So that is a preset drop that if you kill him, you will actually get the key. So we have 2 keys, and if you'll notice, the door is locked, but if we head out the door and come back in, we'll say the magic words of "Open Sesame" or "Open Says Me," and bam, the door is open. So that'll actually save us a key. And the keys in this game are interchangeable. You can use them in any of the dungeons. And that is actually so noticeable when you go to a shop, because basically you can buy keys and use them throughout the different dungeons. So if you do end up kind of running out of keys, although you really shouldn't, every dungeon does have the number of keys that you need to get through it. And with that little door glitchy thing, you do have an extra key in your reserves that we'll, of course, make use of. And there's actually a special item in this game called the Master Key, or the Big Key, or the Almighty Key, which is basically a lion head key. And that key will actually open every door so that you don't have to worry about your small key count. But we got the standard compass as we wait for this stupid Keese, and that'll show you where the Triforce piece is in this dungeon. So it is in the upper right-hand corner of the dungeon. We will get there eventually. And every Triforce piece is, of course, protected by a boss that we'll have to take on. Now, sadly, a lot of the bosses in this game are actually just palette swaps or, you know, re-skinned versions of previous bosses. So that's kind of unfortunate, but it is the way it is, basically. This was the first game in the series. It is a cryptic clue, and if you hit the old man, he gets upset and shoots fire at you. A lot of the clues in this game, the translation isn't great. Even in the modified versions, like the one I'm playing, which is from the Virtual Console for Wii U, basically, the English isn't that great, and so it's not really helpful to get those clues, but oh well. Now we got the map, and as you can see, the kind of dungeon layout is in the upper left corner of the screen as we take on these, something like Garayas or something like that. They throw little boomerangs at you. And for killing them all, we actually get the trusty boomerang ourselves, one of the best items in the series. But the map is in the upper left corner, and I've always thought it looks like a magic lamp, kind of like in Aladdin, but it is supposed to be an eagle in flight, I guess. So obviously the feet at the bottom, the wing at the top, and then I would guess the head over to the right. So this is one of the most difficult rooms in this very easy dungeon, and that is, of course, taking on these Garayas again. But we'll stun them now with our boomerang, which is why I went and got that first. And we continue to get the stupid little stopwatches after we kill all the enemies. Jeez. So now we'll do some little gesticulations here to get these spike traps to move out of the way. And we'll get the special item from this dungeon, which is actually the bow. Hopefully we won't get hit by these, jeez, stupid keys. So the boomerang is not doing what it's supposed to. But there is the bow, our first special item. And we cannot select it because we actually don't have arrows. It is very interesting in that in this game you have to buy arrows from the shop. We'll get around to that eventually. Right now we're focused on beating this dungeon, finding a piece of the Triforce that was split by Zelda herself, and continuing onward to collect some more items. But we are basically done with this dungeon. We only have a few more rooms to go through, and then we'll take on the boss. So as you see, enemies are not respawning. This game does have a fairly decent respawn rate. You have to go quite a few rooms away or even out of, for example, a dungeon, as we see some floor masters here. If you stay against the wall, they will just keep coming, and if they grab you, they will take you back to the beginning of the dungeon, so you want to be careful. Ooh, a fairy. Come here. Come here. Okay. Oh man. Jeez. So let's take this boss on. And it's a dragon. Or a unicorn. Or a dragon unicorn. This battle's pretty easy. If you have your sword beam, you can just stay on the left side and shoot him, of course. And then chow down on a fairy if needed. But if you don't, what you need to do is, of course, charge in. His pattern doesn't change much. Those fireballs are pretty easy to dodge. And then just slash them a few times, run away, dodge, and continue and repeat. But now that we have 5 hearts, which is why I went and got that heart container before we went into Dungeon 1, we can actually pick up the second most powerful sword in the game. And to get that, we have to head quite a ways to the north and also to the east on the map. So it's not too far from World 1, or Dungeon 1 I should say, which is why I decided to do this right now, as I get crushed by a boulder. Because it's a pretty quick trip up to get it, and it will significantly increase our damage output. So the wood sword can kill some enemies, mostly things like Octoroks in 1 hit, but the more difficult enemies it'll take 2 hits or 3 hits to kill. But the second power sword, you can kill quite a bit of things with just 1 hit. And there is a third sword in the game, and we'll be getting that one eventually, but you need 5 hearts in order to get the second powered sword, which is called the white sword. And it is in this cave right here, so we're gonna head in and grab it. And in my next episode, we're gonna head towards Dungeon 2 while also picking up some more items. So as always, viewers, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first episode, and I will see you all next time. So long!